Well, I guess that happened, and fair warning, we are getting into spoilers. Lots of spoilers. If you didn't see the Sylvanas Cinematic, you know, the end raid cinematic, then we strongly suggest you click away, and that's your warning, okay? We're going into spoilers.
Spoiler territory. That was... okay,
Listen,
well...
Go ahead. Until we watch it and, you know...
Yeah, we're obviously going to watch it and comment a little bit on the way. It's 4 years in the making.
It's a lot of time.
Ever since Stormheim, right?
A lot of time.
That's when Sylvanas. And for the most part, the prominent attitude of the developers, especially the ones that we're talking about the story, is like, okay, you're not gonna predict, you're not gonna know what's gonna happen. So Sylvanas is gonna surprise you. And the path that they were gonna take the characters story-wise and how she was written always felt like, oh, this is so predictable, man, this is totally predictable. And
we can say like obviously it was too long, and a lot of us got really tired of that whole storytelling of we show you some, but you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah,
that's super tiring, and it was super tiring, and I think. This is a conclusion, but not really, because to be honest, I kind of left out from it with more questions now than actual. I mean,
that's usually a good cinematic if those questions obviously will be answered, but it's
so long,
to your point. I don't, like, with all my respects to the awesome stories they've created, I don't think they can write the character they wanted to write.
I think that's the problem, right? They cornered themselves so hard with Sylvanas. I think whatever they would have done, there will always be people who didn't agree, who didn't like. But
well, that's fair. But I feel like just looking at the characters that they wrote, like Arthas and even Garrosh, which I personally didn't like how they made Garrosh, but they kind of wrote it, and the pacing was kind of okay. Yeah. After Siege of Orgrimmar and after Pandaria and as a whole, Garrosh kind of took like a back seat, even though his story was not over. Kind of took like a back seat, and he kind of finished the story within the ground. But Sylvanas is kind of like always there, and it's like nothing is happening, and it's like, oh, you're not gonna know what's gonna. Don't make her a raid boss, man. Like we said it, don't make her a raid boss. Don't make her Garrosh 2.0. Oh, she's not. But and you know.
That's the thing. Well, guys, this is the on cooldown version 4. This is the biggest news bit we have for today, so might as well going to talk about the cinematic and look at it once again. Spoilers and stuff. I think we managed to do the intro without any spoilers.
Yeah, it's a bit fair.
We're good, man.
Would have waited.
All right, but now we get into the actual cinematic. So we're gonna. I don't know if it's in analyzing the cinematic or whatever, but we're gonna stop and
it's
look
basically
at a couple
what
of
we
things.
Noticed, and we're gonna point out some things and see how many of them.
All right, so this is obviously. I think this part is from the when the fight starts.
Can you pause it a little bit? This looks a lot like Ice Crown, like the where you fight Arthas, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, the skybox is different, and there's like this big arch at the top, but like the whole platform with like pillars to the side, all blue and kind of like trailing down into the bottom. That's I don't know if they did it intentionally or not. I think
so, because this expansion had a lot of references to Lich King in cinematics.
Clearly, yeah.
So it goes without saying. But I think this part specifically, I think this is before the Sylvanas fight. Let's just look at it really quick.
That's actually a good point. I don't know if it's
let me make my point. Peace out to Laced for Lace TV for uploading this cinematic. Yeah. Love you, dude. So I think she made the portal to the Arbiter. See, and here's the Sylvanas. I know the fight is here with her.
This is the last phase.
I think so. And the fight happens, then we kill her, and this is the cinematic. So the orb. Now I want to pay close attention.
Can you pause a little bit? Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to mention is obviously usually the mythic phase is something that's extra to the story, so it could be that this on top of Verbose is the last mythic phase. What I first noticed here is when the orb flies out of the Arbiter, she disintegrates. Have you noticed that? She disintegrates as in
I didn't see that.
You can put it back. What is it? 34 seconds.
Okay,
look at her.
Hold on. Let's see the actual orb. Oh, that's
she disintegrates, and if you let it play until the orb gets to Zoval.
Hold on, because I had a little something with the orb. Nice looks, nice. Okay, really good pause here. So I want to give my biggest gratitude and admiration for the animation and cinematics department over at Blizzard, and specifically for World of Warcraft. Amazing job with all the cinematics. I mean, the facial expressions, the sound, the scenery.
They started to do really good with that.
Yeah, man, it's incredible. So Sylvanas' fate aside, whatever, the execution of this is
when you can read the emotions on their face, that's when it's
beyond this world. But anyways, let's because I want to pause. I'm gonna pause a lot. Okay, look at the orb now. Look at this.
Yeah, that's the infinity sign.
I found this interesting because this is like the motive you saw in Ouroboros all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm guessing in 9.2 a lot of it will come more much making sense or whatever, but I found this like a really cool tidbit because when you saw it in the Arbiter, you didn't really see those lines all over, but you didn't really see the details. Now you can see the fucking Ouroboros motif, which we already discussed, it's Norse.
I know, I have a different take on this. Obviously it's the infinite motif and it looks a lot like the Ouroboros architecture, but if you play it, obviously the orb sinks into his chest, and obviously he has been having that hole there for a while, which kind of leads me to believe that this is his essence. And the fact that the Arbiter disintegrated once the essence left kind of makes me think that the Jailer was the Arbiter before the Arbiter.
There was I think Akalon said this in some speculation, and I think Pyro too, but let's carry on. Look at this bad boy. I love how it looks.
This is awesome. Plate set.
Okay, this shot right here, this is one of the many money shots, because you all remember back in the day when Pyro got a lot of heat because he just posted a photo that was leaked. There was a drawing for the Jailer, remember that?
Yeah.
And the Jailer looked really like old with a long white beard and stuff.
Yeah.
And everybody was speculating that after the Jailer was going to take the orb, that was going to be his actual appearance. But well, we don't know for sure if that's going to be the final appearance. But looking at this here right now he looks like a proper World of Warcraft villain. I'm sorry, man. I didn't really dig the whole chains and nipples and shit. That didn't really, and, the blue eyes and all of that. It's all good. But as a villain in World of Warcraft, now he looks fucking badass. And what the hell is this, man?
That looks like the technology
portal.
Of the traders. Or it could be the first ones.
I don't know.
It's not really like the traders, because when you look at the portals for the traders, they have like those little devices at the end that kind of rip through the dimension. But this one doesn't seem like
that.
This looks
different. This looks like, because he said something with the fabric of reality. But let's look.
Yeah. Well, their eyes glow blue.
Question, is this Sylvanas trying to save their lives?
This is something that I did not like. Like, why does she suddenly care about their lives?
Yeah, those guys.
They haven't built... I mean, she always thought that, okay, any life is worth sacrificing if it's for the end goal, obviously. But this... how is she so suddenly concerned about them? Maybe, initially I thought that maybe she doesn't like the fact that they're being mind controlled, because obviously they're mind controlled. They have their eyes blue.
She has a problem with mind control.
Yeah, clearly. And if you look, I have a point to make later on. If you really look at her eyes, it's something that I actually haven't noticed until recently, although it was pretty out there the whole time.
Well, look at her eyes. And he looks so good.
It's badass.
I want an action figure with that. Look at that.
Now, pause it now. Anduin's and Sylvanas' eyes are in contrast in terms of color. Kind of. It's the blue in Anduin is a little bit lighter.
Very traditional blue and red.
But it's if you look at the iris and everything is very well defined, as opposed to just like the glowy blue that they had before.
Yeah.
And the Sylvanas is the same, only that it's red. And it's clear that Sylvanas is not controlled by Zovaal. And I think the contrast in her eyes is really interesting. And obviously that plays a little bit into what happens a little bit later.
Yeah, we'll look into it. Definitely you can see like the emptiness of Anduin, and the
coldness.
I mean, he's basically not there. He's basically a puppet.
He's chained inside of his own mind.
Yeah, while Sylvanas is clearly having, even blurred like this, clearly is having a lot of thoughts, a lot of intents, right? So she's in control of her own thing. But is she?
Well, who would have thought Sylvanas would put out more emotion than Anduin?
Yeah.
And now this is brilliant.
Okay. I gotta stop it here, because if you listened to the surf thingy, it was okay, it started off with the jailer, then you hear Arthur's voice, and I think it was N'Zoth as well, because there were 3 voices with Serve, and I think N'Zoth also had this with
that
the
was
Serve
that was
thing.
interesting. I don't know where to put N'Zoth in all of this though.
Well, it's a theory to be had maybe after we finish it. But okay, so Sylvanas said, "Fuck serving, man. I ain't no goddamn waiter. There's no goddamn restaurant." So,
Unexpectedly.
Oh, who would have saw that?
Didn't even look, man. He expected it.
All right.
I will never serve.
Another Lich King reference, I might add.
And also, I do want to say that the whole shooting thing, obviously, we kind of knew that there's going to be a Sylvanas redemption story ever since she started to feel a little bit of remorse in past cinematics. So this is clearly not surprising.
Yeah.
What's kind of interesting is, although it's not surprising, but they did a really good job at this, is her firing the arrow at Zovaal, him catching without even looking like he expected to be betrayed, and then she not flinching at all when she realized she missed because she did not expect to hit at all, meaning that right now she's doing something that's very un-Sylvanas-like, where she's just basically signing off her own doom, when probably, I think this is the moment where she said, okay, I don't care if I get killed or deleted or whatever her existence is because she's already dead. I don't want mind control anymore.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it makes sense for her character, but the way that it was built up until now and the reason why she had Anduin mind control kind of is a little bit in contrast to that. And it's a conflict that they didn't really develop properly, which is part of the reason why I think they didn't write Sylvanas the way they wanted to, or they weren't able to write her that way.
Well, my friend, there's a novel coming out in February next year, so probably that. But I agree with what you said. It's basically her making a statement. This whole action, it's her statement.
Yeah.
That's it. Because obviously she knew she'll not hit. She knew everything. So yeah.
Still shame our mortality. You did help restore something stolen from me.
This is the part where this is very
To repay you.
Okay, what the fuck is that?
Okay.
What the fuck is that?
This is something that we talked about on stream and has been speculated for a while. And this is the biggest question that I personally have. You know, when Frostmourne killed people, it separated their spirits, like we saw with Uther. And then Uther lost his blue side, but he had like his light side, the 2 parts of him in the cinematic. And it was speculated that the Sylvanas' part that was eaten by Frostmourne was never returned to her. And that's that. That's her part that was stolen by Frostmourne.
But look at the silhouette. It's the ranger Sylvanas.
Yes.
This is
that I think that feeds more into that concept, that it was the part that she lost. The high elf, that she lost her immortal side, if you want to call it like that. And what the question that I have is, how does Zovaal have that if that was supposed to be in the Frostmourne? If the Frostmourne was destroyed and seemingly everybody that lost that part got it returned or sent to the Maw, I guess at that point Zovaal got it back from Sylvanas.
It was Zovaal all along.
So obviously this plays back, I don't know, obviously they didn't intend it at the time, but this probably plays back all the way to Wrath of the Lich King when Frostmourne was shattered, and the fact that he had it this whole time is interesting. It's like, why?
I think it has a lot to do with the Age of the Night situation, which I think will be really developed in the book.
I hope so, because I thought for sure they were going to...
That was her meetup with the jailer.
They were retcon that shit.
Something happened. Well, it's definitely going to be retcon, but I think that's where they're going to explain it. But I found it interesting because the jailer says that you helped me recover something, now let me get you back.
It's interesting why he would do that. I guess he just doesn't see Sylvanas as a threat anymore.
Well, we'll see why, because I loved his line here. All right, let's see. I leave you to their mercy. Yeah. So basically he unchains them. Look at them fucking blue eyes. Look at them.
Their glowiness is gonna go away and something else interesting is gonna happen. Okay, first pause here.
Let me
go.
This tells me that we are going to get some Varian Rain action. Varian is gonna be a key player in 9.2.
What this tell me, I think this is a metaphor to him leaving his human side behind.
Oh man,
this is
come on! Don't break my heart, man.
This is a
No.
representation. I don't know if the writers are capable of writing a tragic story for Anduin, a tragic end for Anduin. I doubt it, based on like how they're developing their story. But it could mean that we're not going to see any more breaks out of the Jailer's Chains. You know how it was in the Orbo cinematic, where he had a second of clarity. I don't think we're gonna see that. I mean, that's what this. If this is not that, then this is just weird. Maybe it is Varian,
or maybe it is a metaphor for Varian coming up, because this is. I mean, looking back at the Legion cinematic, the opening cinematic, this was basically a
Varian's
big
legacy.
Yeah, and it was a big money shot over there, because you know it resembles his memory of his son when he's like in up mode in the the biggest fight right over there with the Legion.
Moral compass, I think, because
moral compass. There you go.
If you remember, the whole monologue that Varian had was like Anduin taught him to be a better king.
Exactly.
And I think what the compass symbolizes is first of all the passing of a torch and a legacy.
And we're really geeking out on this.
And obviously Anduin found it. I think he found it on the Broken Shore, right?
It was. I think it was.
It was
when
given
he was
to him.
hooded or something.
He found the sword there. He was given the little compass. But what I think, to your point, is I think Varian will actually become a playable character. He's gonna pick this up and he's gonna save his son.
That's what I think. Yeah,
that would be interesting.
There was on a PTR a data mine cinematic where everybody gathers up and finds this. Okay, let's not spoil anything, because we're just looking at this for now. But definitely could be Varian. I'm voting for Varian, because where is Varian?
Well, Varian is supposed to be in the maw.
Well,
and that's what I think. I think Varian is going to help us save Anduin. That would be really cool.
Hey, listen, man. Any dose of medicine, I can get my... Can you
imagine, dude, imagine the poetry of Varian being saved by Anduin and becoming a better person, and now Varian being the father, maybe for one last time and saving Anduin.
The actual father. That would be cool. That would be
emotional as fuck.
Realities
Cannot let him.
Okay.
Now,
explain this, motherfucker.
Yes.
Explain
Look at this.
What the fuck is with the eyes?
This is actually, I think you're the graphic designer, you probably know better, but in terms of chromatic contrast, this is a much better chromatic contrast to her eyes before. This blue seems like in kind of like opposite sides of the red that she had before.
I get that.
Clearly, and it's different than the blue that Anduin has.
It's
different than the blue that the other guy says is different than all that. I think this is just this.
She never had these eyes. Like, even if you look, let's look at Cataclysm Sylvanas or Mob Sylvanas.
You know what?
She never had these.
I might be on a limb here, because I don't know my colors that well, but I think this is her high elf eyes.
High elves? Don't they have like goldish?
High elves before the corruption of the Sunwell, I think they had blue eyes. They had blue eyes, then they become green, and now with the cleansing of Sunwell, they're golden.
Okay. I'm not 100% convinced by that. I remember the golden eyes, but maybe this color of the eyes has something to do with the actual regaining of that part.
100%.
And this is basically, because a lot of people speculated on Sylvanas becoming actually 100% mortal again, a human. I would want to say.
That would definitely.
But this would be a sign. But I would have expected, if that were to be the case, I would have expected her whole appearance to change. But this basically, okay, let's look.
Well, I mean, sure, but I still have a problem with her scar being red, because that color was supposed to emanate from her essence of rage, of being killed. But the scar is still red. Maybe that's actually clotted blood, although that's kind of, I don't know. She's undead.
It's weird. The novel. Okay,
hopefully. We cannot let him. She didn't say what.
Let's look again. So the audio on this laptop.
Go back a little bit to when he takes Anduin. And we're just not gonna pause until we get to this part, I guess.
Okay, here.
realities
Come and you'll see the realities end. So he's definitely gonna wanna fuck everything up.
Let him reach thee.
So do not let him
reach
thee.
The
So whatever. That's probably what we're gonna find out in
soul
9.
of Azeroth?
That would be interesting.
I think
it would all circle back to that.
I think it's clear he wants the Azeroth soul. I think there was
Could be
a lot of things. 'Cause the fact, we have to make a correlation with the fact that we are Mawwalkers. Okay, I think we're done with the cinematic.
Yeah.
We can talk about some conclusion. So the fact that we're Mawwalkers and we have this weird connection that allows us to activate portals in the Maw and be able to just go whatever and teleport whatever. You know, there has to be a correlation, a full circle with that.
It is from
between
Azeroth.
yeah, that's
because when you listen to if you read the dialogue when you talk to Talinara in Oribos and she says your unique anima allows you to travel to and from the Maw. And anima is strictly related to Azeroth. So it could.
So maybe the jailer wants some of that uniqueness.
That's where N'Zoth comes in, maybe.
Yeah, because if you remember, because we were talking about N'Zoth, right? You remember we killed him at 2%. I don't know if you remember that. His HP never went down to 0. He was killed at 2%.
He did explode, but the thing that's what my biggest problem with 8.3 was that Nyalotha was
No. Your biggest problem was distances. Fuck that shit.
Nah, fuck that. It's corruptions. But really now, Nyalotha was kind of in the story. It's so big that it was supposed to be an expansion all of its own, and it was kind of disappointing that it was like a 10% raid and 90% JPEG. But out of that, the way that the whole encounter with N'Zoth goes, he's not 100% either surprised or displeased with the fact that we're kicking his butt. So that kind of leads me to believe, all right, there's more to it. And as Marcelian said, I'm so tired of there's more to it. But if they could write it right, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But they cannot keep us on a loop for like years without anything, especially if they want us to be invested in the story.
Yeah, control yourself, man.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, right? So it was a pretty awesome cinematic, and overall, I was, let's say, satisfied. Just the expectations set up by Ian actually this time was like, oh, the end of the raid is going to be mind-blowing. It wasn't that really mind-blowing.
I don't know if he knew this the way that.
Come on, he's the fucking game director. If he didn't knew,
or if they knew, that means they might have cut the story a little bit short to expand it in 9.2 or something. Maybe the end.
A lot of people are saying 9.2 will be the end. There won't be no 9.3.
The expansion.
Well,
yeah, I know people don't like this, but if they do it right, I don't really care as long as they give us a good game and good content and not
for sure.
Not what we've had so far.
Let's focusing on the actual cinematic. So, as overall impression, I think it's pretty good. As I said, there was no way they could have made Sylvanas end or conclude without pissing some people off or overexciting some others. This is how they cornered themselves.
That's a good story. When a story can polarize people, that's good.
It's a good sign. I guess it's a good sign.
It did have my personal problem is that it was predictable. I didn't care if she died or lived. I just wanted to have her written as a good character, and I feel like they've tried to build her up to a point where she would go against the Vol, and that was clearly obvious. I don't think they built it up enough, because if she was going to blatantly shoot Zaval in his face, then she wouldn't have turned that.
That would have been quirky as hell.
She would have said no, and then Anduin would have, I don't know, she would have been way more against Anduin. That's how I feel. And what is she knows about his plan. She knows that he's going to
Don't let him get to the.
Okay, if she knew that the plan was that the whole time, then why go along with it? Why even think that was a good plan? Was she hoping we would stop the jailer? Was she hoping we like Anduin would snap out of it? Like, see, these are all questions.
Holes, yeah.
If these are questions that will be answered, okay, fine. Again, we still don't know the whole thing, but I have.
It's a problem that they kind of always count on these books, man. For the books are nice overall, pretty cool, but to actually fill in missing pieces, lots of missing pieces within the books. I think even Steve Denuser said at some point that they rely too much on external storytelling and not focus too much on within game. They're going to change that in Shadowlands, and I didn't feel that really happened. But that's not important.
Well, arguably, there's more story in Shadowlands than there was in PFA.
Okay, fair enough. But you have to tell us what you thought about the cinematic, because I think it's a really cool discussion to be had. We're really curious to see what you thought, what you think is going to happen, what this all means. What is like the jailer up to right now? Where does he have to go? What does this mean for Sylvanas? Is she dead? Is she becoming into a mortal form again? Is she going to be buddy with Bolvar and Jaina and Tyrande? all of that, leave them in the comments. And also, big salute to all of our Patreons for making all of this content possible. We're in 9.1 now, so of course the guides are coming. You know, the TLFs are coming back starting this Friday with a very, very early look at a tier list for range DPS in the raid. And the podcast as well. Prot Warrior is coming up, and Outlaw Rogue, and basically all the specs at some point. Just, you know, you need to get to everybody in.
Eventually.
Thank you for the support.
Thank you very much.
Have a good one. Thank you for watching. Bye.
I've been loving it then, I still love it now. Still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. Getting better every day, let me show you how. Cause still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. It's getting harder to stay, but at the end of the day, it's a guilty pleasure, so just log in and play. Whether it's classic or retail, I'ma do a /bow. Still, I play WoW.